Okay, hello and welcome to another wonderful class. And we started our JavaScript class already, and we're able to understand how important JavaScript is. JavaScript is a language that is very, very versatile. We can use it in the front end, we can use it in the back end, we can use it for a whole lot of things to build REST APIs. We can use it in frameworks like React, Angular, and Vue. So JavaScript is very, very important, and that is why we want to make sure that we settle down and understand everything about it. And the concepts we are looking at now, they may seem boring, but they are very, very important in your understanding how the frameworks like React work, how you're going to be doing your DOM manipulation. So, and that is why it is very, very important that you pay attention to what we are doing, what we're going to be doing, so that you can be able to get the whole concept. So that when you start working on more complex projects, you're going to be using these logics. So we're going to be looking at if-else statements and the rest of them. So those are very, very important. And we looked at very important things the last time. We looked at comments, we looked at variable declaration, we looked at let, const, and var. We looked at string manipulations. Then I gave an assignment on math operations. So how many people did the assignment here? Can you indicate if you did the assignment? I saw the assignment submitted by some people in this on the Slack channel. Who was able to do his assignment here? Okay, Blessing saying she did. Okay, that's good. I think I saw hers. Please, assignments are very, very important. They are to your own advantage. They are going to help you to really take a deep thought on what we've done, and they will help you to improve a lot. So please, anytime you're giving an assignment, just try it. Nobody's gonna flog you if you don't get the right answer. So always check it out. As a developer, Google is going to be your friend. Stack Overflow too. So whenever I ask a question or give an assignment, you can always research it. Most resources are already online for you to do such assignments. And when you try to solve an assignment, it gives you the ability to understand uh, questions that can come your way, and it will help you to build your strength. So please, anytime you're giving an assignment, make sure you always try it. You understand? No, I'm not gonna penalize you or flog you if you don't get it right. So please, always try to do the assignment. Okay. So today we are gonna be looking at very important things today. Okay, let me quickly share my screen so that we can get started. Okay. So please, you guys are gonna help me confirm once you start seeing my VS Code. You're gonna help me confirm so that I'll know that I'm on, so that we can see me. Okay, once you're seeing my VS Code, let me know so that we can start out. Can we see my VS Code now? Good evening, I can see it. Okay, yeah. Oge says she can see it. Okay. Read one says she can see it as well. Ayela. Okay. So let's get started. So I'm gonna be starting with the math operators assignment that I gave. So I saw what Chidinma, Blessing, Velari them did, and they did a very nice work, and I'm so impressed by them. So I'm gonna paste out some of these math functions. Okay. So please look at the very important some of the mistakes I saw from your own. That is why it's good you do assignments so that I can make corrections. So you see the math, the M in the math is always a capital letter. Okay, so take note. These ones, some of them are capital and some lower cases. So take note of that. Okay, so I'm gonna comment this out. But no, those are the math functions. Okay, those are the math functions. Very, very important. You know the difference between math functions and math operators. Okay, math functions and math operators. So math functions, they are built-in functions that help you to do mathematical calculations. So let's say you have something like want to get the value of the pi. So you can just simply say math.pi gives you that. So this is a property, and these ones that have brackets are functions. So if you want to round up number to the up or to the down, so these are the various floor for down, up, ceiling for up. So you have to, if you want to do power, you have to do, you want to do square roots, sine, cos, all these normal mathematics. So you can easily use these built-in functions for them. Very, very important. So we also looked at math operators. Math operators are very, very important, and I can see in your Slack channel, somebody did something on math operators. I don't know whether it's I think I like the one done by Blessing. Okay, Blessing, yours is very, very good. I like it, so I'm gonna try to pick it up here from your Slack, and I like this. So please make sure you always do your assignments. Okay, so these are the various operators. This is the assignment operator. We all know this for addition, this for multiplication. So instead of using times, this is what you're supposed to use. This for the exponential operator, this is division, increment, decrement, and modulus. Okay, so these are the operators, and the above are the functions and math properties. Okay, so I'm gonna also label this as math operators. So it's good you know this. Okay, so this is the assignment. Please make sure you update your assignment. Our class today is not for this. So let's quickly get to what we have for today. And today, like I said, we're going to be looking at arrays. We're going to be looking at arrays. So whenever you want to store collections, whenever you want to store collections, if you want to store more than one value, okay, that is when you use array. So who can give me an example of when we can use array? Say if I want to take declare a variable and call it fav color. Okay, so I've said that before. Fav color. Okay, I think we looked at array the last time. I think we looked at array the last time. Somebody should help me. Did we look at, yeah, looked at array already. Colors. Okay. Okay. So I hope we all remember the array functions. Well, that was the last one we did. Array was the last one we did. So we looked at the property of length if we want to get the number of elements. We looked at to uppercase if we want to, okay, for the what's it called, for the uh, string operators. Then we went on to array, looked at push on shift if you want to push something to the back, then on shift if you want to put it in from the front, then pop if we are taking out from the back, then shift if we are taking out from the front. Okay, so those are the things we looked at. Then we looked at array dot is array. That's if you want to check whether something is an array or not. Okay, I think those are what we looked at. Okay, we actually finished array the last time. Okay, so today we're gonna be able to start with objects. We're gonna be looking at objects. So let's look at object literals. I think once we finish these object literals, we should be able to look at the conditional statements, the if else statements, and the rest. Okay. So how do you uh, most programming languages, when they look at programs, they see it as an object. And an object is anything that has properties and functions. So once a program has properties and functions, we call it an object. So we're going to be able to look at this code and identify the properties at least, even if we don't put function yet. Maybe when we start the OOP aspect of of JavaScript, then we'll be able to look at the functions. Okay, so let's look at an object. Let's look at an object literal. So when we say something like const student, okay, const student. So we want to say something about a student. So that is how you declare an object. Okay, so make sure that your object is always in a curly bracket. It has to be in a curly bracket, not the normal bracket, not the square bracket for the array. It has to be in a curly bracket. Okay, so students, they can have something like name. So a student can have a name. Okay, so we declare the name. Then once it's inside of your object, then it has to come with a colon. Okay, so say my name is gonna be Augustine Emeka. Okay, that is my name, and that is the first property of this object. So we are gonna also have something like, say, height. So say the height of a student. Students normally have height. So let's say 6 feet tall. Okay, let me just use a pure number. So say 90. Please make sure the spelling of the height is correct. Okay, so I'm gonna also have make sure you always separate this with commas. So I'm gonna have another property, say subjects. Okay, subjects. So what subjects do Augustine? What subject does it do in the class? So this is gonna be an array because it's not just one subject that you're talking about. Okay, so what subjects am I doing here? So I can be doing JavaScript, as if I'm a programmer. Can be also be doing Python. Okay, and I can also be doing HTML as well as you all know, CSS. Okay, so you can see that an object can have an array inside it. Can have a property that has value of array. Very, very important. Now, very importantly, an object can also have another object inside it. Say you have something like address. Okay, you have something like address. Okay, somebody wants to enter, so please let me quickly admit some people. Okay, so say you have an address, so an address is gonna also be another object. Okay, so that is how an object can have another object inside. You can have an array, you can also have an object. So let's say the address is gonna have properties like street. So what street am I in? So I can simply say 25234 Maitama Abuja. Okay, yeah, okay. I don't really need to put Abuja because I would want to have city. Okay, so I'm gonna have make sure you always put comma to separate. So I'm gonna have city. Then inside the city, I'm gonna give it Abuja now. Okay, Abuja. Okay, and what else should I give it again? I can still have, say, state. Okay, state, and state is this time around is gonna be FCT. Okay, so this is the object that is inside another object. Okay, so once I'm done, I think I'm okay. So this is a typical object literal. You have const student to be having a name property with this value. So you can see that the value, you don't use this assignment operator again. If it is inside an object, it has to be a colon. has to be a colon. Okay. So what if we want to get a property in this object literal? We can actually do that. Let's try something. Let's say console.log. So what do we want to get? Let's say we want to get the name. Okay. So if we want to get the name, then we're gonna simply say the name of the object, which is student dot name. Okay. So if I save this quickly, then I come down here and I run it, I should be able to see Augustine Emeka, which is the name. Okay, so you can see it here, Augustine Emeka. So it is running and it is working perfectly. It is running and it is working perfectly. So that is how you can get the value of a property inside this object. Okay, now let's try to get an array value. Let's say this is the array that we have here, subjects. So let's try to get one of these values. So how can we get Python if we want it? So let's try that. Somebody wants to join. Please let me quickly admit the person before I can continue. Okay. So if I want to get that person, so I'm gonna simply say console.log. So I want to get an array value. So how do I get an array value? So I mentioned the name of the object, then I'm going to mention the name of the array. So the array there is subjects, so I'm going to say subjects. Okay, student dot subjects. Okay, then I'm going to now give the index position. So if I say one is going to pick out Python because Python is at index 1. If I say 0, it picks out JavaScript. So Python is what I want, so I'm going to say 1. Okay, so if I save this now and I go and run this, I should be able to see Python. Okay, you can see this is Python. Okay, so that is how you can get any value here. If you want to get this value, then you have to put 3 because here we have index 0 1 2 3. So if I want to get CSS, then I'm gonna use 3. So if I save now, Control X, and I come down here and run again, so you see I'm seeing CSS here. So that is what you can do with that. Now, another thing we can also do is that we can get uh, for these very embedded objects, we can get say city or state, the value of the city or state. So for the embedded object, how do we get its values, value of the properties in the embedded object? So I'm going to say console.log. Then to get an object that is inside an object, so I'm simply going to mention the name of the first object, the main object, the mother object, which is our student. Then I'm going to say dot. The other object there is address. Okay. So once I say address, I can now say dot. What I want. If I need Abuja, I'm going to say dot city. But if I want 247 my time, I'm going to say dot street, which is what I'm going to actually use now, dot street. Okay. So if I save again, then I come here, I'm going to see 234 my timer. That should be what should come on. You can see 234 my timer because I wanted the street value. If I had said dot city, I would have seen Abuja. If I had said dot state, I would have seen FCT. So let me try out dot state. If I do Control S to save, then I come back here and I run again. Okay, you can see FCT. So that is the way you can get the value of an embedded object in another object. So very, very important. Now, what if you want to add a property to this, a property that is not existing? You know, we have name as a property, height as a subject as a property, address as a property. All of a sudden, you want to add another property. So how do you do that? How do you do that? So we're going to try to add another property. So I'm going to simply say student because I want to add another property. Student dot. Uh, let's say I want to add what property should I add? Student dot dot. Okay, let me say is married. Student dot is married. Okay, you know is married is a boolean, so it's the value should either be true or false. So I'm gonna say is married. Students are not normally married. Okay, I say false. Okay, so that is how I add that. So I can say Control S to save. So I've added is married. So if I want to see this object as a whole again, let me see whether I can see is married as the property. So let me console.log the whole object. If I say console.log, then inside bracket I put the whole object, and you know the name of the object is student. So if I save this, I want to see the whole object, and I come here and run. Okay, so you can see the object now is having another property known as is married, and is with a value of false. Okay, so you can see the other object, the other properties: address, street 247, Maitama, city, Abuja, state, FCT, and the subject that has array of JavaScript Python. Okay, so you can actually echo the whole object so that you see it, and that is what I just did now. So this is the whole object. I just console.log the whole object. Okay, so those are the things you can get. Somebody wants to join. Let me quickly admit the person. Okay, so those are the things you can easily get with this. Now, very importantly, if you're going to be working with REST API at an advanced stage in your programming, you're going to be having what we call array of objects. Your JSON is going to be arranged in this form. So it's always good you know how to manipulate arrays of objects. Okay, so I'm going to create uh, an array of objects so that you see the way it works. So let's look at arrays of objects. So when we say arrays of objects, it simply means an array that contains objects. We looked at array that contains numbers and the one that contains string. But now let's look at an array that contains objects. And this is very, very important. Please, when you're building your REST API, this is the format. It's actually in JSON format, but you can easily convert an array of numbers into JSON. And JSON is simply stands for JavaScript object notation. So we're going to do this array of objects, and we're going to quickly convert it to JSON so that you see how it works. And this is very, very important, like I said, in when you are going to be doing your when you're going to be building REST API and doing advanced works. This is very, very important for you. You need to learn about JSON, JavaScript object notation. So I'm going to be teaching you that now. So pay attention to what we're going to be doing. Okay. So let's create this constant, and we're going to call it task. Okay, task. So the name of the array of objects is going to be task. So take note. So, and it's going to be an array. So for something to be an array, it must be inside square brackets. So you must expose the square bracket. This means that this is an array. Now, what does the array contain? Is it numbers? Is it strings? We've looked at arrays that contain numbers and strings, but this one is not going to contain numbers and strings. This one is going to contain objects, and we've already seen what object is. So object is simply in curly brackets. Okay, so you can see this is going to contain objects, plenty of them. So I'm going to give another word, object. I'm going to still give another word, object. So this is what we call array of objects. Array of objects. Now inside the objects, we are now going to declare the elements and the objects. Okay, so elements, the properties that this object is going to contain. Number one, I'm going to have an ID, and you know we always use a colon for this. So I'm going to give it of ID of say 001 or 002 or even 1. So 1 is still okay. So I'm going to say comma, and it's going to have another this thing. So I'm going to have task test. Okay, the test of the task. So what is this task? What is it gonna be? My first task is gonna be let me call it learning HTML. That's the first task we are doing as programmers. Okay, so that's the next property of these. Okay, so I'm gonna give another property. I'm gonna say I'm gonna ask completed. whether I'm done learning HTML. So I'm gonna say completed. And you know, if I've completed, it's gonna be true. If not, it's gonna be false. So I think we've completed HTML to some extent. So I'm gonna say true for that. Then that is the task one. That is the number one task. So I'm gonna come down in the next object. I'm gonna also give it the same properties. So I'm gonna say ID. But this time around, the ID is gonna now be 2. So if you're looking at this, you see that this resembles the columns in a database, because JSON is actually used to feed databases. Okay, so you can see that it's like we are building a model for a database in a programming. So you have to really take note of what we are doing here. So you say text, and the text is going to have a text which is containing what the text is all about. So the second one will be studying. We're going to call it studying CSS. I think that's the next thing you do whenever you're done with learning JavaScript.